Great to have you along for the ride. Thanks a lot for stopping by. Glad to have this man back. He's the founder of Blackwater. It's Erik Prince. He's also a security expert, obviously. Erik, how are you? Good to see you again.
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
We should talk at some point where somebody's not trying to kill Trump. That's the last time we talked as well. I mean, I don't understand why we're here, and I want to give a little background on this idiot that's behind bars in a second. But first, let me just start from the start. Last time we spoke, you thought it would be a good idea for the Trump family to consider maybe some private personal detail on top of the Secret Service that they got. At this point, this isn't one time. This is now twice. They're not going to stop till November. If you're in their ear, what do you do today? What happens today to protect this guy?
So supposedly President Trump was having a meeting with the head of the Secret Service down at Mar-a-Lago today. If I were him, I would demand significant uptick in their best agents, or I would ask the JSOC, Joint Special Operations Command, could offer operators from SEAL Team 6 or from Delta. The best way to protect President Trump is to put people that are very offensive minded, because you want, especially on an advanced team, you want to have a predator, right? People that are trained to hunt men, because you want them thinking, how are the 10 ways I'm going to kill Donald Trump? And then you plug every one of those channels to prevent it. The old saying, a good offense makes for a better defense. That really applies in this case, because you want people that are thinking that way. Putting normal law enforcement in that role, they tend to look backwards, looking for evidence to make a case.
Right.
You want people that are hunting. And thank God there was somewhat of an advance. They were at least doing one hole ahead of President Trump. They fired 4 times. They did not hit the shooter. Clearly, the shooter had prepared. He was there for 12 hours with ballistic plates mounted against the fence for his final firing position with his scoped rifle, and he had a GoPro. He was there for trophy. He was trophy hunting. He was there to be the savior of the left, to say, I killed Donald Trump. That's really, really screwed up.
It's Erik Prince, founder of Blackwater. You can go to unplugged.com, find out about this great secure phone that you can get. Erik, I was going to ask you about the ceramic plates, but you've already sort of alluded to them. Let's go over what we know the guy had. There for 12 hours, allegedly an AK-47 style, whatever that means.
It's an SKS. It's a semi-automatic rifle, fires the same caliber, 7.62 by 39 round.
Gotcha.
Very deadly at 100, 200, really out to 400 meters. By my look at it last night you could get a direct line of sight from the fence line to the putting tee, or the putting green of the 5th hole at 150 yards already. So very well within the effective range of that rifle.
What specifically do the ceramic plates do? Because I would imagine ceramic would be something that's shatterable. That protects you, ceramic plates?
It looked like they were the plates that you would wear in body armor.
Okay.
And he had them, and apparently he was going to use those as somewhat of a bunker to protect himself from incoming counter sniper fire.
It's Erik Prince. Erik, I got to ask you about what the Palm Beach County Sheriff said yesterday. He said he's not the sitting president. Had he been the sitting president, the entire golf course would be surrounded. But since he's not, that's why it's not. So last time you and I spoke, the next day, you had Mayorkas come out and Biden come out, and Trump's getting the same Secret Service that a president gets. He's a nominee. He's a former president. We're going to step it up. The A-team is on him. Yet we're still hearing people say the A-team wasn't on him. What happened?
Well, government lies. What can I say?
Yeah. Well, I mean, what should he have around him at this point? Just as the nominee, you get a certain level. As the former president, you get a certain level. At this point, I still have to believe that Jill Biden has better protection than Donald Trump does. Do you think they're going to try to fix it between now and November, or is it on Trump to fix it?
It'd be interesting. I would love to hear what that conversation is between the director and Trump, because, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. And Donald Trump's got to be saying, what the hell are you guys doing, putting me in this kind of danger multiple times now? Look, Trump has been shot at. There's been more assassination attempts on Trump than Kamala Harris has had serious interviews.
Absolutely. And that's as tongue-in-cheek as it could be. That is directly serious in its answer, and she doesn't fear for her safety. Her family doesn't, and I don't want them to. I don't want Biden to fear for his safety. Why is this guy target practice? I don't understand. And look, I don't want to go down the conspiracy rabbit hole too much, but you got a guy who's from North Carolina, who lives in Hawaii, who's been to freaking Moldova, he's been to Kiev, and trying to recruit Afghan soldiers who are afraid of the Taliban to smuggle through Pakistan, Iran, into Ukraine to fight the Russians. Eric, how the hell is this guy not on the radar of everybody in the DOJ? How is he? You got Tulsi Gabbard is on a watch list, but this guy carries a gun to a Trump golf course and almost gets a shot off.
The really bizarre thing that needs to be investigated is the Butler, Pennsylvania shooter and this guy yesterday both appear in a BlackRock TV commercial.
Wow.
The statistical likelihood of that is about 0. Which is why, look, I called for last night on Twitter, the state of Florida, Governor DeSantis needs to take ownership of this investigation, take preeminence over the feds, because the feds have not done a thorough job in Pennsylvania. They've tried to memory hole this entire thing, just kind of sweep it under the rug. And we don't know about the background of the Pennsylvania shooter. How did he get those explosive devices? All this other information, and who is he in contact with that was regularly going into Washington? In the same way, this needs to be thoroughly investigated, especially his electronics. Who has this guy interacted with over the last 6 months and 6 years? And is there any external conspiracy? We have to have that kind of answer, because if Trump got killed,
yeah,
the likelihood of a civil war goes much, much higher.
Of course it does. But at the end of the day, these nut jobs and whomever they may or may not think they're working for don't want him to have a chance to win in November. And I mean, enough now. It's Erik Prince. He's the founder of Blackwater. Go and get unplugged.com. Unplugged. It's the actual phone is amazing. It's going to keep you safe and secure when you're out there using it. Unplugged.com. Let me ask you about this guy, Richard Blumenthal, the very far left-wing senator, a Democrat senator, came out 2 days ago and said the American people are going to be shocked when we release our report on the failures of the Secret Service. Then 2 days later, Trump is under potential fire again. When somebody that far to the left who hates Donald Trump says that, what do you think we're going to find out about the failures? I mean, you and I have talked about them already, but can it be even worse than we thought?
The senator, young guy from Missouri, Josh Hawley,
yes,
released a whistleblower report saying that the lead agent, a DHS agent, failed a bunch of key tests and were waived by the former director and put her in charge anyway.
Wow.
Second, most of the other DHS agents that were there had no formal training in executive protection, but had only attended a 2-hour video course on how to do executive protection. That's what they decided was adequate to put around Donald J. Trump, which is horrifically embarrassing.
It is. It's disgusting. Erik Prince is who we're talking to, Blackwater founder. Robbie Starbuck over on Twitter today put out this, and it's true. This guy who's the alleged attempted assassin from yesterday wrote a book that was up on Amazon. And in the book, he asks Iran to assassinate Donald Trump and also himself because of the mistakes he made about Ukraine. The guy's obviously a nut job. Eric, I'm to believe that a guy who was trying to recruit Taliban soldiers to go fight in Ukraine and possibly put them in Taiwan as well. This is all in his social media. And a guy who wrote a book asking Iran to assassinate the former president wasn't on the radar? I mean, I thought that there was some entity somewhere, maybe I'm stupid, that at least was looking out for dangerous people to keep us safe. I thought terrorist watch lists were real. I thought that you would watch a guy who said, let's go assassinate Trump. But yet this guy was walking free, and again, came from Hawaii, and happened to know 12 hours earlier that Donald Trump was going to be golfing yesterday. Can you put any of that together in your head?
Yeah, again, that's why very detailed proctology must be done of his electronics. How did he get any indication that Trump was golfing? Because it was not a public event. Who suggested? Does he have any formal sniper training or not? How did he decide to set up there? Which, as you look at the overhead, is a logical place, probably the best place to set up to try to take a shot. So, yeah,
Wow.
There's enormous amount of unanswered questions, and I just don't have confidence in the feds to do this. And I really hope Governor DeSantis steps up, is the man here, and puts his foot down. If I were DeSantis, I would not have turned that guy over to the feds at all. I would have said, he's in a state facility. You can interview him with a state official present at all times, and you don't get custody of him because he committed attempted murder in our state, and you have lost the credibility to rectify the situation. So we, the state, are going to do it for you.
Well, it turns out this lead FBI guy, Veltri, whatever, from Miami, has a questionable history when it comes to left versus right politics. Does DeSantis does a state have the authority to tell the FBI, sorry, we're going to take lead on this? Because we know that the DHS, which is in the DOJ, where the FBI is, they're in charge of the Secret Service. Can DeSantis say, back off, we're doing it?
There's lots of 10th Amendment questions here, and I think it's time for the states to flex up and tell the government to the federal government to F right off.
Yeah. I can't disagree. It's Erik Prince. Go to unplug.com and find out about this great phone. He's an expert on personal protection. Last time you used a term that I don't think I've ever used in my life because I'm not in that business, but you said protectee. The only job is to protect the protectee. And as you just said in the beginning of this interview, being proactive is a way better than being reactive when you've got somebody who's been shot or is in the line of fire again. I know that Palm Beach sheriff's officers were there too, protecting him, and I know them personally. I got family in that office. They love this guy, Trump. What do you think is going on with coordinating with the locals? In Butler, PA, they said that the Secret Service and the HSI did not talk to them. They said they were going to, didn't communicate whatsoever. There was no way to get a hold of them via communication, basis while this was all going on. What do you think the level is now? Do you think they've stepped it up at all, where the locals are in fact involved and can communicate immediately or not?
In my view, the real heroes yesterday were the county sheriffs.
Yes.
Because they got the tip from a witness with a photo of the vehicle, of the license plate, fleeing the crime scene. And they pushed that into their plate readers, the cameras watching the highways, pushed that to a helicopter, vectored in squad cars, made the arrest. Fantastic. They did that all without any federal input whatsoever, and they really executed well, because this would be a far worse situation if you had a shooter with a rifle that gets away and they got away clean, nobody to question. That would have made this invariably worse. But at least we have this scumbag in custody.
Founder of Blackwater, it's Erik Prince. Erik, I appreciate the time. If you were called by Donald Trump today or his family, what do you do? If they say, okay, Erik, just do it. Just protect the guy till November. Enough is enough. What do you do? What's the first step?
Again, strengthen the outer perimeter, the advance team, extend the perimeter that must be secured. Okay, it's going to be much more than 200 yards. Focus on drones and standoff weapons. I mean, hell, that golf course, unless it was properly swept even with dogs, you'd have to be worried about a small explosive device implanted in the grass or in the sand trap or whatever, an IED. I don't know that they're sweeping to that level of discipline, and they should be. So the fastest, easiest supplement is a lot of JSOC capacity that the taxpayers have already paid a lot of money for.
Right. Trained,
equipped, magnificent capability.
Would you at all advise President Trump to just hang out in the basement for a while? I know he's never going to do it, but that's what Biden did to win. That's what Harris is basically doing to win. He's not going to do it, but would you advise him to?
No, but make the security apparatus up their game.
And that's the bottom line, because again, this guy's he's not going to sit back. I mean, he's already been shot in the ear, and he thinks this is a mission from God now. And I don't think he's wrong. I'll be honest with you. I don't think he's wrong about that. I mean, obviously he's still around for a reason. Last question on who this guy. Go ahead.
Let me just say, Joe.
Please.
The thing I really feel terrible about for Trump, on top of the threat he had yesterday, golf is his happy place.
Yes.
The man is good at it. He loves to do it. And they took that away from him. And so now, whenever he's on a golf course, he's thinking, is there a shooter around the next corner waiting to shoot me? And that's miserable.
It really is. One last question for Erik Prince, and other people are trying to get you on. You're a very, very busy guy today. This guy we know is a convicted felon. He's not allowed to vote, yet somehow he voted in North Carolina in the last election, and he's also not allowed to have a gun. I mean, they had him under investigation for a felon in possession with a firearm, yet somehow he's still waiting 12 hours at a golf course with a firearm, and he's voting. Is there any assumption by you, the expert, that this guy has a deeper line of connection to the DOJ in some way? Maybe a former CIA, something? Is there anything there?
That's where the electronic proctology needs to happen.
Okay.
And it needs to happen at the state level.
And because you don't trust the DOJ. I don't.
Nope.
Erik, listen, you found time for me today. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. We're back after this. Stay right here.